أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألا إن أولياء الله لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في شان حبيبه صلى الله عليه وسلم: إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وصحابك या सय्यदी या हबीब अल्लाह. Hazrat Abu Darda radiallahu ta'ala anhu, a beloved companion of the beloved messenger, peace be upon him, he states that the holy prophet, peace be upon him, stated, Laisa min abdun yusalli alayya illa balagani sautu haisu kana, that whosoever a person, wherever he may be, when he recites Darood upon me, I myself listen to the recitation of that Darood Sharif. So let us then recite Darood Sharif once again with utmost feelings and love and devotion and dedication for the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya Sayyidi ya Rasul Allah wa ala alika wa sahabika Ya Sayyidi Ya Habib Allah. Today, once again, we gather in this blessed gathering of Gyarvi Sharif under the loving supervision of my father, my mentor, my Pir Murshid, my guide, my axis, my direction, my Qibla, Sayyidi Sheikh Muhammad Mohsin Manawar Yusufi. And we are indeed blessed to be under the loving guidance and supervision of our beloved father and our beloved guide while celebrating this blessed gathering of Gyarvi Sharif. The 11th century, it witnessed the arrival of a friend, a beloved, a guide, a teacher, a mentor, whose arrival would revive the religion Islam. His arrival would mend hearts for the better. His sacred presence would motivate people to tread on the righteous path, the path leading to Allah, the path leading to the beloved of Allah, and the path leading to the paradise and the beloved Ghaus. He would once again, his arrival would ensure that once again the seeds of love, the seeds of faith, the seeds of belief for Allah and His beloved messenger, peace be upon him, were sowed in the hearts of people. He made the disbelievers believe. He made the unfaithful faithful. He made the sun bring its rays upon the others in the eras of darkness. He was the man of ineffable grandeur and majesty in the realm of Islamic mysticism. He was the human manifestation of divine consciousness, the highest saint in the hierarchical structure of saints, the revered saint, the celebrated saint, perhaps the most celebrated saint, the unprecedented saint, the unrivaled saint, the unparalleled saint, the distinguished saint, the illuminated saint, the unfathomable saint, the sovereign of saints, the leader of saints, the beloved of saints, the eagle of the higher realm, the interpretation of the Holy Quran, the sacred text itself, the great intercessor, the mystic of Allah, the gymnastic of Allah, the beloved of Allah, the beloved of Allah, the great master, Sayyidina Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. So once again, we sit in the gathering of Garimi Sharif, which is dedicated to the Honorable Saint, the highest saint in the hierarchical structure of saints, the Sultan al-Awliya, Sayyidina Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam states, one day on Friday, it was the day of Friday, I was returning barefooted to Baghdad Sharif from a journey when I came across a weak man who looked really ill. The man greeted me by my name and requested me to help him get up. And when I did so, his condition instantly underwent a dramatic change and he started looking like a completely healthy person. So the person who was sat a few minutes before and looked as if he was an ill person, he was a sick or a weak person, the moment he called out my name and asked me to help him get up, and the moment I made him get up, he became healthy. He was not weak anymore. He was a healthy person this time. Seeing my expression of surprise at the sudden transformation, Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam says, he explained that he was in fact himself the personification of Deen. Islam was on the verge of death, but it had been given a new life by me. And this is the great Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam stating the matter. He says that that person was a personification of Deen. Islam was on the verge of death, but it had been given a new life by me. And he then called me by the title of Muhayyiddin, meaning thereby the reviver of religion. And then Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam states, when I entered the premises of the Jamia Mosque of Baghdad Sharif, an unknown person, seeing me barefooted, gave me his shoes to wear and then also addressed me by the term Muhayyiddin and the title Muhayyiddin. And at the end of the Friday prayers at the mosque, the entire congregation rushed towards me. Some would kiss my hands and call me by the title, even though no one had used that title before with me. So in that manner, Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam states that he received the title of Muhayyiddin, a person who revives the religion. Muhayyiddin, the one, Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam, who revived the religion, gave a new life to the religion itself. Saints, as highlighted by my father, Sayyidi Sheikh Muhammad Mohsin Munawwar Yusufi, saints, they hold different degrees, various stations with reference to their nature and dispositions. Where some of the possessors of the attributes of beauty, some are of the possessors of the majestic attribute of Allah Ta'ala. Some are Jamal, while some have Jalal in their personality. For instance, Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam, Sayyidina Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he was a personification of both, attributing, highlighting the majestic attributes of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala himself. So Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam, Sayyidina Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu ta'ala was an unfathomable saint. Imam Ghazali would say that saints of Allah are also called the people of true beingness. They impress the people of world by their teachings, by their love, by their art, and their teachings and love show their purity of heart and the purity of their soul. So Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam was a saint, pure by heart, was a saint, pure by soul, and so is our mentor, Sayyidi Sheikh Muhammad Mohsin Munawwar Yusufi, a saint, a guide, pure by heart, and a guide, a beloved, pure by soul. The saints of Allah are the spiritual guides who aspire for closer union with God, and the awliya Allah, the saints of Allah, enlightens the society to abstain from spitefulness, barbarism, bigotry, sadism, discrepancy. And once the great Ghaus-e-Azam was engaged in worship when a cloud appeared and said, "O Abdul Qadir, I am your God, I am God, and I hereby declare that you do not need to engage in first prayers that have been made mandatory upon you and the others. I hereby declare that you do not need to engage in first prayers and anymore, and the same has been, and what was impermissible has now been made permissible upon you." Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam, in that moment, he thought, prophets came before me. They were higher in stations. They never were awarded with this blessing, that all the mandatory prayers were pardoned, and in addition to that, everything that was impermissible was made permissible on them. So Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam recited La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, and it was at that moment he stated that there is no power nor strength except by Allah. And it was at that moment that Satan appeared, and he said, "Oh Abdul Qadir, your knowledge saved you today here." Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam then again replied, "No, it was not my knowledge, but it was not my knowledge that saved me, safeguarded me against your actions, but it was indeed the grace of the Almighty Allah, the grace of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. Darastul ilma hatta sirtu qutban wa niltu sada min mawla al-mawali." I acquired knowledge till I became the Qutb, and I attained this good luck through the great Lord. So Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam was an unfathomable saint. His degree and extent of knowledge was, and it remains, unfathomable, incomprehensible. People of today claim that he did not do anything for Islam. These are false allegations and accusations aimed at ruining the image of Islam itself. And we present our reference in context of Tafsir Jilani. Ibn Qayyim Jawzi was present when Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam, Sayyidina Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was explaining the exegesis of one of the verses of the Holy Quran. And he replied, I am aware of this interpretation. Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam then presented another view of the interpretation, and he replied again in the affirmative that yes, I am aware of this interpretation as well. Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam presented a third view to the interpretation of that particular verse of the Holy Quran. He again replied in the affirmative. Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam presented 11 different interpretations of the same verse of the Holy Quran, and every time he said, yes, I am aware of this interpretation, but that moment, it was that moment that after that 11th interpretation, Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam started on with the divine interpretations, and Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam presented new interpretations which were unknown to him, that such that Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam presented 40 different interpretations of the same verse of the Holy Quran itself. And it was at that moment that it has been recorded in history that Ibn Qayyim Jawzi, he was so astonished and bewildered by this extent of knowledge of Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam that he tore his clothes off and he started screaming. Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam was that saint. He was advised by Khwaja Yusuf Hamdani radiyallahu ta'ala to preach in public, but he was unwilling. He felt shy to preach in the presence of the learned men of Baghdad. And then he saw the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, on the 16th of Shawwal. The Holy Prophet, the Honorable Messenger, the most beloved Messenger, the Honorable Messenger, the Prophet of Islam, the beacon of hope, a paragon of virtue, forgiveness, and tolerance, an omen of mercy, the Holy Prophet, Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam saw the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, while in a vision, and the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, stated, the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, stated, and he inquired, why do you not speak? He said, I am but a Persian. How can I speak with the beautiful Arabic, eloquent language of Baghdad? The Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, stated, open your mouth at once. He opened the mouth, and the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, he breathed 7 times into his mouth. He placed his saliva 7 times into his mouth and advised him to go and address mankind at once and invite them to the path of Allah. And after that, Hazrat Ali spat 6 times in his mouth, and thereafter, on account of these miraculous effects of the saliva of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, and Hazrat Ali Kadamullah Wajal Kareem, an unfathomable ocean of divine knowledge was opened to his innermost heart. And after this, the eloquent and loud sound words and phrases began to burst out from his blessed mouth. Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam Sayyidina Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu thus began delivering his lectures to the audience at Baghdad and to the audience at large. And in the beginning of his lectures, the audience were indeed few, but in short time the numbers multiplied and increased up to 70,000 people in one single congregation. And his audience comprised of not only mankind but jinn and hidden men were also reported in his audience. And a miraculous event of his gatherings was, which comprised of people of around 70,000 in number, at a time when there were no mics or loudspeakers, that the person sitting closest to him and the person sitting the furthest would listen to the exact same sound and voice of Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam Sayyidina Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu ta'ala. For a period of 40 years, he delivered sermons, gave instructions in religious sciences, and for 35 years, he also acted as a mufti, giving his legal opinions and fatawas on a variety of issues. And that is Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam Sayyidina Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. فلو ألقيت سري في بحار لصار الكل غورا في الزوال. If I disclose my secret upon the rivers, the water of rivers would absorb and no sign of it would remain. ولو ألقيت سري في جبال لدكت واختفت بين الرمال. If I disclose my secret upon the mountains, they would turn into dust and there would not remain any difference in the sands and in them. And ولو ألقيت سري فوق نار لخمدت وانطفت من سر حالي. Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam states, if I disclose my secret upon the fire, it would turn utter cold and no sign of it shall remain. And this is Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam Sayyidina Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, the saint who sits at the highest station of saints. Maqamukumul ula jam'an walakin maqami fawqakum ma zala ali. High is your station, each and all, and yet my station is above you, higher still. Hazur Ghaus-e-Azam Sayyidina Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu states that no disciple of mine shall die without repenting first, and my disciple and their disciple and their disciples of 7 generations shall enter paradise. So may Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala enable us to gain from the teachings of Sayyidina Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, while in the loving presence and supervision of our beloved father, our beloved Pir Murshid, Sayyidi Sheikh Muhammad Muhsin Munawwar Yusufi, wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.